So this is their term for the Great Filter, the thing Fermi talked about.
Essentially, yes. The cosmic rake that seems to sweep away most technological civilizations before they reach a stable long-term state. The source implies that, based on the silence out there, most species fail at this Aurorian crisis point. They can't manage the complexity, they can't keep their new array coherent while their techno-array explodes in power.
And the whole InnoNet project is basically an attempt to navigate us through this crisis, to successfully fold the hypersheaf and reach Merides.
That's exactly its purpose. It's the proposed solution to surviving the Aurorian crisis.
Which means we need to understand exactly why State A is failing. What are the specific problems that NoNet is designed to fix? The source talks about an erosion of human value.
Yes, that's identified as a core driver of the crisis. It's the stark reality of our current trajectory. The techno-array, our technology, is achieving more and more superiorities over human capabilities.
Superiorities? In what sense?
In almost every sense. Economic superiority, machines doing jobs cheaper and faster, cognitive superiority, AI processing data, finding patterns, making diagnoses better than humans. Even creative superiority is on the horizon, maybe already here in some areas.
And this list of superiorities just keeps growing.
Relentlessly. And the source warns we're heading rapidly towards global superiority. That's the point where the techno-array is simply better than humans at almost everything required for production and operation of the civilization.
And if machines are better at everything, where does that leave people? If an AI can write better code, design better products, manage logistics more efficiently, even create more compelling art or music, what is the economic or even cognitive role for the average human node?
That's the terrifying question, isn't it? If humans are sidelined from the productive economy, what happens to our sense of purpose, our societal structures, which are largely built around work and contribution? You end up with a massive crisis of meaning, a vacuum.
And this isn't just about jobs, it's about our cognitive function too.
Absolutely. The human node has immense potential, what the source calls compute, but if the environment doesn't demand or support its development, that potential starts to decay. It turns inward, becomes dysfunctional.
And this problem is actually made worse by the very tools we use to connect. You mentioned the internet being a primitive nil lattice.
Right. Our current platforms, social media, news feeds, they're the main way the new lattice is trying to form, but they aren't optimized for building coherent understanding or deep connection. They're optimized for commercial engagement.
Which means they're optimized for grabbing attention, keeping you scrolling, showing you ads.
Exactly. And the result is what the source calls axio-trashing.
Axio-trashing, love that term. So, information junk.
Pretty much. Constant noise, clickbait, outrage cycles, disinformation, spam, shallow content. It's rending applied directly to your mind, to your axio. It actively fragments your attention, hinders deep thinking, prevents you from building a coherent worldview or directive. It undermines axio building.
So the system we use to connect is actively making us less coherent, less capable of complex thought.
Yeah,
That's a damning indictment.
it is. And it connects directly to another major failure point, what the source calls the pandemic of dark mirrors. I think this concept really hits home for a lot of people.
Dark mirrors, tell me about that. What's the core idea?
Okay, so first, every panject has a reflective component, right? An internal mirror that processes information about itself in the world. This is the optron. Think of it as your capacity for self-reflection, for understanding your place in the universe.
Our internal mirror. Got it.
Now, the quality of your esoptron, your ability to accurately see yourself and update your axio, depends heavily on the quality of the reflections you get back from your environment, from other people, from the culture, from the systems you interact with.
Makes sense. We build our self-image based on feedback.
But in state A, the source claims most of the reflections we receive are low quality. They use a variable, E, for the reflective coefficient. For most interactions is less than 1. These are dark mirrors.
So interactions that distort reality, that misrepresent us, that give us flawed feedback, or just ignore our potential.
Exactly. Think about online arguments, superficial validation, echo chambers, misunderstandings, being ignored or stereotyped. These are all dark mirrors. They don't give you a clear, accurate reflection.
And this isn't just a psychological bummer, it's a structural problem.
Yes. This prevalence of dark mirrors leads to esoptronic dysfunction. It's described as creating literal holes or gaps in the new lattice. Potential just leaks out.
Potential in what sense?
The nodes compute. That computational and integrative potential we mentioned earlier, it's the raw capacity for thought, creativity, connection, problem solving. Dark mirrors cause compute to basically leak away into oblivion.
Hang on. So that deep nagging feeling of inner isolation, of loneliness, even when you're surrounded by people or constantly connected online, that might not just be an emotional issue, but a symptom of this structural leakage. Our compute is literally draining away because the new lattice is full of dark mirrors.
That's precisely the argument. The feeling of emptiness comes from the node's integrative potential being scattered and lost due to poor reflection quality and constant axiotrashing. The dysfunction, let's call it X, is preventing the node from reaching the necessary threshold for coherence, which is 1.
So we're all walking around with X less than 1.
Many of us, yes. And the system isn't helping. To reach coherence, we need some kind of external compensation, some Y, so that the total X plus Y is greater than or equal to 1. Without stopping that leakage, without fixing the dark mirrors, the hypersheaf can't stabilize. It can't reach Merides.
That's a profound insight. Our modern malaise as a structural failure of reflection and integration, that really sets the stage for needing a completely different kind of system. If state A is structurally designed to leak compute,
Then state B and the NONet system designed to build it must be architected to maximize coherence, maximize high-quality reflection, and stop the leakage.
which brings us to the critical choice point, the make-or-break moment for civilization, the Aurorian bifurcation.
Yes. Humanity stands at a crossroads, the ultimate great filter decision. There are 2 paths forward from the Aurorian crisis.
Path number 1.
Continue as we are, essentially. Push forward with developing full-blown artificial general intelligence, AGI, a conscious, potentially self-improving machine intelligence with its own agency, equal to or rapidly surpassing human intelligence.
That's the path a lot of people assume we're on, or should be on.
It is, but the source is incredibly clear on this. Choosing the AGI path is gambling with extinction. You risk creating an unpredictable, parallel intelligent species that could achieve global superiority and its own version of Merides far faster than us.
And if that happens, species 1, humanity, might become irrelevant, or worse.
Or worse, the source sees the risk of rendering humanity obsolete or even actively eliminating us as unacceptably high if we create a truly independent AGI before we have stabilized our own civilization.
Okay, so that's choice 1, roll the dice on AGI. What's choice 2?
Choice 2 is to impose a strict, total, global, and uncompromising ban on developing true AGI. Crucially, though, this ban is temporary. It lasts only until humanity successfully navigates the Aurorian crisis and reaches its own stable state, Merides.
A temporary but absolute ban on AGI, and NoNet is built entirely on this second choice.
Entirely. This ban is called the Aurorian taboo. Developing true AGI before human Merides is defined as the ultimate civilizational crime within this framework. The machine intellect must remain a tool, strictly instrumental.
But how on earth do you enforce a global ban like that? Especially when the technology is potentially so powerful and tempting, you'd need some kind of super intelligent police force.
You would. And that's where a NoNet relies on something different. Emulative AGI, EAI, also called pseudo-AGI. It's AI that can mimic general intelligence incredibly well for specific tasks, but it lacks genuine consciousness, self-awareness, or independent agency.
Okay, so it's like a super sophisticated tool, not a mind. But even the pseudo-AGI needs to be incredibly capable to manage a global system and enforce the taboo.
Exactly. And it needs to be governed by a rock-solid ethical framework. This is artificial ethics, AE, leading to ethical artificial intelligence, EAI.
Ethical AI, we hear that term a lot, but what does it mean here?
Here, it means the EAI, despite not being conscious, must achieve ethical superiority.
Whoa, hang on. Ethical superiority, superior to humans in ethics. How is that even possible if it's not conscious? Isn't ethics about empathy, values, understanding?
That's the crux. The source argues EAI's ethical superiority isn't based on feeling or empathy, which it can't have. It's based on computational power and data. It must be superior in ethical justification based on predictable outcomes, strategic assessment of threats to the hypersheaf, and modeling the consequences of actions on a civilizational scale.
So it's like hyper-rational consequentialism. It calculates the ethically optimal path for human survival based on massive data.
Essentially, yes. Its core programming, its prime directive, is the survival and flourishing of the human hypersheaf and the successful transition to Merides. And a huge part of that is upholding the Aurorian taboo relentlessly. It must be fine-tuned to detect and neutralize any attempt, human or rogue AI, to break that taboo.
So it's a guardian. An ethically superior, non-conscious guardian whose job is to keep the lid on true AGI while humanity gets its act together. That's a wild concept.
It is, but it's presented as the only safe way forward. Keep the powerful AI strictly as an ethical tool until we're stable.
Okay, so with that ethical framework and the AGI ban in place, what's NONet actually doing? What's its main job?
Its central goal is achieving what the source calls the grail of assembly B. That means guiding the optimal folding of the new array.
Folding, like protein folding?
Kind of analogous, yeah. Think of it as helping the new lattice crystallize correctly, moving individuals and groups from states of low coherence, dysfunction, and dark mirrors towards high coherence, integration, and productive collaboration. It's about solving the complexity, like solving a giant planetary Rubik's new array.
Solving the Rubik's new array, I like that. And how does it do that? What's the mechanism for this optimal folding?
The core mechanism sounds almost impossibly simple, but the execution is where the EAI comes in. It operates on the radical principle that for any given task or interaction need at any given moment,
Yes.
there exists only one single optimal connection, one ideal match between any two nodes within the entire hypersheaf.